back to the sawdust maker. This is going to be part 6 and the final of the series of the slot mortiser. As you can see here, it is completed. What I'll be doing is taking some of it apart back to where I left off in part 5 and showing you how I got to where I am right now. So we'll get started there. Alright, what I finally came up with was something like this. That's going to go on this side of the router, and this one that came on this side of the router. Now, I went through several attempts to make these, as you can kind of see, but I finally found this works out pretty well. I also made a handle. It's made out of 2 pieces of oak board glued together and then shaped like it is now. At one time I was attempting to use this to hinge the handle with, but it didn't work too good. So I used this method here, and it works really good. Now in Ryan's version, he has a piece of metal that's somehow attached to the side over here with a bolt that activates this. But I chose to go this way, trying to stay away from any kind of like manufactured metal parts. So now the arm that attaches from the handle to the router, this of course was the final result, but I went through several patterns, starting with this one. Then I went to this one. Then I went to this one. And finally, this one, which I was able to use to pattern the one that I'm using. Now, when you look at these, you'll see I've got the bolt running up through here for the little slides that are going to be used to limit the side-to-side motion plus the front and back motion of the router. I was able to actually make these with the slot mortiser before I was completely done with the project, and they turned out pretty nice. I really am satisfied with how it worked. Okay, when I was talking about these side rails and how I put them together, there was one little detail I forgot to mention, and that's how to get the bolts through the wood here. So what I did was I drilled a 3/4 inch hole in the bottom of here, about 1/4 inch deep, with a 3/4 inch brad point bit. Then I took a 1/4 inch drill bit and drilled through the center of that all the way through. So that way the bolt, this carriage bolt, can go sliding through, and then I hammered it in place so it sunk in, and now it sits nice and level. So now I'm going to turn the camera off, put this stuff together, and show you how it all works. Alright, now that we've got these side supports on, you can see that it slides really easy. Now for the handle, what I've done for the bottom, this bottom hole down here, I've drilled a hole in the side, and what I did, I thought I had some 1/4 inch metal stock, and it turned out I couldn't find it, so I just took me a bolt that had a long smooth shank on it, cut the head off, and cut it to the size I needed. And what's nice about it is, if I ever really need to take this apart, I can grab these threads with a knife and pull it out. Haven't decided whether I'm going to fix it in there permanently or not. So far, after using it a few times, it hasn't come out, so I'm not going to worry about that at the moment. And I did pretty much the same thing with this one that holds this arm in place. And I'm having a little trouble here. Normally I'm working at it from the other side. Well, I'm going to turn the camera off until I can get this part in. Okay, I found out what my problem was. I was trying to put the wrong end into the handle. So it came in pretty smooth after that. Now that I got it in place. Now, one of the things that I want to show you is down here at the bottom of this block that's holding the router up, I've put in one of those T-nuts in here, and then put screws on each side to hold it in place. So next I'm going to do a close-up of that so that you can see it a little better. As you can see, the T-nut is right in the back side of this block. I had to drill a small hole in there first to accept the T-nut, and then I drove it down with a hammer, and as you can see, the two screws on both sides there that'll hold it in place. Next I'll be putting the screw and nut in place. There it is right there. And that will go through the other end of the little arm and connect here. I'll go ahead and put that in now. Okay, as you can see now, the screw is in place and it's holding the arm on to the block. And you can see from the action here, it moves it pretty easily. One other thing too I wanted to show you is this block right here. Let me turn the, there we go. This block right here that holds the handle didn't have much support, so as you can see, I've drilled a hole. I've drilled it at a slant, and I'm going to go ahead and put that screw into place, and it makes it a lot more stable. And if I can find my drill. If I had to do this over again, I probably would have made that particular piece out of hardwood. Now, the handle, of course, is hardwood, and this link here from the handle to the router is also made out of hardwood. It's made out of oak. And I'll zoom back here and show you a better look at its operation. Okay, as you can see, I went ahead and mounted the stops on here, and they were pretty simple. As you can see, they're easy to adjust, and they do a pretty good job. And there we go. And now you see these springs, which are very easy to put on. Really gives it a nice spring action. I also took some paste wax and put on all the places that slide, like here and along here. So that's why it's sliding real easy. Okay, Ryan at Shop Built put 4 springs on his, where I've only had the 2 springs, one on each side on the outside. He has 2 more on the inside. I couldn't find a way to mount them on the inside, but I'm not sure that it's really all that necessary. It seems to be working pretty good as it is. Has nice spring action to it. Okay, one of the very last details is this clamp that I've got. There's two parts to it. I got both of them from Rockler, and as you can see, it holds down real well. This was my solution to the clamping system. So this ends as far as the details of the build. Next, I'll try to do a demonstration and show you how it works. Okay, I'm going to use these two boards right here as the test pieces, and so I'll get started with this one. Okay, I've got this line centered up with the line on the wood, and I've got this line centered up with the center mark here. Alright, now for this one. Okay, one small problem I have is I got to line this up a little bit better. So I'll be tweaking that some later on. But overall, the project works well, as you can see here. Of course, this is not the right type of tenon to use in there, but it's what I had at the moment. It's nice and tight. And makes a pretty good joint. I'm real happy how this project turned out. It was a lot of fun to build, very challenging, and I'd recommend it to anyone. I want to say thank you again to Ryan over at Shop Built for this wonderful design. And this basically concludes the slot mortiser build. Now, in the future, in the next several months, I'm going to have some very short videos on some other projects that I've already completed that I will discuss and show different ways of how they can be completed. There won't be a whole lot of the building part going on, instructional part, but just some helpful hints and things like that on these other builds. So stay tuned, there'll be further videos. Thanks for watching, and I hope you'll subscribe if you haven't, and I hope you'll hit the like button too. Thanks again.